She said, she'll take me anywhere, she'll take me anywhere, as long as she stays with me. She said, she'll take me anywhere, she'll take me anywhere, as long as I stay queen. Kiss, kiss, modest lips, kiss, kiss, modest lips, kiss, kiss, modest lips, kiss, kiss, modest lips, kiss, kiss, modest lips. Well, Wrestlemania has come and gone, and I thought about doing a live stream when I watched it, but, well, I was on vacation, so I didn't do shit. You know what? Every year I look forward to Wrestlemania. I think if you're a wrestling fan, if you're especially a fan of WWE, you do look forward to it. And for the amount of money you pay, like, don't. It was in Vegas, and Vegas is expensive, I get that, but that's just, it just doesn't make sense. But I've heard a lot, and so I thought, alright, let's get to it. So you have night one, you have the Usos and LA Knight, yeah! Who took on the Vision, and I Show Speed, which sounds like an interesting iCarly episode. Anyways, yeah, he was a good wrestler. This was a good match. He could wrestle his ass off. I know that for a fact. And, I mean, got the Usos coming out. LA Knight comes out in a red truck. And, yeah, it was back and forth and everything. But, yeah, ultimately went to LA Knight and the Usos. And, yeah, basically, I Show Speed got his ass kicked by Logan Paul, and then the Usos helped out doing the 1D, which I guess I Show becomes a face at that point. I don't know if we'll see him again, I hope we do, but shouldn't the tag team titles have been on the line? We had Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. This was a fairly good match. I mean, I always look forward to these. And it's like, yeah, you know what? It was fun. I mean, they beat the piss out of each other. They was throwing each other on the table into the barricade. At one point, you have Jacob take out the red toolbox, which gave flashbacks to McIntyre from his match with CM Punk at Bad Blood, and very cool. And Jacob ended up going over. I finally got to see Angela again, the sword, and of course the fire-breathing guy, Samoan, in Jacob's entrance. A lot of people didn't like that, I don't think, but And then you had the Fatal 4-Way for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. Yeah, got the Irresistible Forces dressed up in demolition gear, which were white. Wish they had another color to add to that, but Charlotte and Alexa had wings that were in tribute to Bray Wyatt, and Charlotte had bigger wings, which I guess if you're the fucking queen, you know, Bayley and Valkyria, that was cool. And then you have Nikki and Brie come out, and yes, Nikki's injured still, and they wanted to be in the match, which is fair enough. So they call out Soraya. Soraya comes back as Paige, and I thought, well, we'll get to that match in a minute. This is pretty cool. I mean, Charlotte and Paige had a face-off with each other. The Irresistible Forces worked well together. You know, Brie did the yes kicks to Charlotte and Lyra. And yeah, basically Nikki got involved on the outside, hitting Alexa with the crutch, giving Brie and Paige the win, and becoming the new Women's Tag Team Champions. And I'm like, I don't understand why that had to happen, but okay. Anyways, where Soraya really should have been in. Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee. Of course, AJ comes out with the kids, I'm not sure where they were from, in matching pink shirts. Becky comes out with the emo band. I can't remember the band that sings her song. And that was a okay match. I mean, Becky tried to cheat, but of course, referee tried to stop her. Well, as usual, there's that running thing, you know. And yeah, so she basically beats AJ up, you know, slams her into the barricade. Then AJ did a Black Widow, which Becky slammed her onto the turnbuckle. So that was cool. I mean, I kind of figured AJ Lee wasn't going to win, but we had to do this shit. Like, I understand it. AJ Lee comes in, she doesn't seem interested. It's more of a nostalgia pop, and hey, I came back to wrestling because fans wanted to see me wrestle, and it's like, cool. You know, we'll put the Intercontinental title on her, the Women's Intercontinental title. Let's not forget the fact that I just said that Paige came in. Who had a feud with Paige in 2015? Oh, right. AJ! So, it's like, okay, have either somebody else fill in for Nikki Bella, and then have Paige and insert herself into the Intercontinental title women's match somehow, or have AJ win and retain just to have a match with Paige. I mean, it could also be Paige and Becky Lynch, but it's like, is that how you fucking treat people? Like, that's just my opinion. I don't know if that was supposed to happen, but it's like, it's not that she lost in that fashion, not just that, it's she was treated like a chump. Like, Becky whooped her ass. So, like, this was just kind of disappointing. And I thought about this too, like, when somebody comes out to a band they usually lose the match. Except for Triple H, I guess. WrestleMania 18 Drowning Bull. But I had a match that was made up on the fly. Gunther versus Seth Rollins. This was a pretty good match, actually. And I mean, Seth coming out with black eye contacts, that was gnarly. And this was a good match, nonetheless. Like, I mean, you have Seth even doing the sleeper, like Gunther, and Gunther doing it back, you know, Gunther doing a German suplex. They both trade chops. There's a pedigree from Seth, and somehow Gunther gets the win with a returning Braun Breaker. Yes, Seth was on the outside, and who should come and spear Seth's head off? Yes. So that was interesting. And yeah, that's how Gunther basically won. And it was like, first of all, I think, you know, if Paul Heyman owes Gunther a favor, then maybe after the match have Gunther join the Vision, but that's probably not the case. That may not happen. But, you know, Gunther makes it up the ramp, so does Braun, and Seth is in the ring. So we'll see what happens. I mean, Braun, I guess, is no longer injured, which is not surprising because he's a brick shit house and he can recover quicker. But I don't know. I mean, judging by what happened on Raw, it kind of looks like we're gonna head into Backlash with Seth versus Braun. So yeah, that should be interesting. I mean, so anyways, got the Women's World Champion Liv Morgan coming out to these male dancers choreographed from her Trouble Trouble video, which is pretty cool. I'm glad that Gianna has pipes and she can sing her ass off just as well as wrestle. Got Stephanie Valkyrie. And this was a pretty good match too, and I mean, you didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, Roxanne kind of got involved. I saw the Raquel, which, okay, you know, whatever happened to one-on-one? Like, I get it, you're a heel, but come on. You'll get it night two. I'll get to that in a sec, but shit. Yeah, he thought Stephanie was gonna win. Even what you were gonna have Liv hit the Devil's Kiss, but that didn't work out. And yeah, Liv Morgan ends up going over and once again winning the World Championship. I found out that she's actually 3-time Women's World Champion, which I think is pretty cool. Kinda just, you know, or as people dubbed it, Cody Rhodes versus Pat McAfee, and I thought, you know, and I'm pretty sure I made my bones about it. This should have been about Cody and Randy. They have history to their days and legacy, and I kind of thought that Ted Jr. was going to be the one to come out because he did the phone call thing, and it turned out to be McAfee, which it is what it is. I didn't get Jelly Roll involved in this match. Was just like, you know, Pat introduces Randy, then of course Alicia introduces, well, she starts to introduce Cody, and McAfee hits him from behind. Match progresses. I mean, Jelly Roll did get involved, jumping off the barricade onto the table where Pat was. Pat gets injured. I will say this though, I found this really funny. The only funny thing that I think Pat has ever done is onto the stretcher, and then he does this thing, which people do to say you're okay. But then the crowd starts booing, and then Pat goes from this to this. So it was that dumbass, whatever this shit is, Vince McMahon bird. Yeah. So the match continues, and it was a pretty good match at that point. You didn't know who was going to win. If people thought Cody was going to turn heel, he did do some heelish moves, but you know, it just, yeah. And he got all bloodied up as well. It was pretty cool. Let's talk about the entrance though, because I thought that Randy Orton was going to come out to not Ref Theory. Was that his name? Or was that band? Whatever. The one where he became face the first time. So that didn't happen, but Cody comes out. Well, and before he does that though, they got mannequins of each of his characters in WWE, I guess. It didn't look very good, but I like the intent there. I kind of wish they would have went with the TNA bomber jacket, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, this match happens. Pat comes out when Charles Robinson, of course, gets knocked down. And Pat comes out with a neck brace and does the pin twice. That doesn't work, so Cody pokes Randy in the eye, and somehow Randy ends up giving Pat the RKO. And yeah, I mean, this was interesting to say that. But anyways, yeah, Cody did the crossroads and got the win. I mean, he did an RKO of his own, I think. I can't remember. I didn't watch the match because it was okay. I didn't rewatch it, I mean. It was alright. But going from memory, this was fine. And then after the match, you've got Cody holding up the belt, and then Randy, I don't know, Briggs' character, whatever, gets up, grabs the belt, and hits Cody with it. Not only that, but he hesitates, but then he goes over to the turnbuckle and gives a pump kick to Cody. Now this was gnarly, this was real. And they say fans hit harder with each other, and if you saw the picture, there it is, like that's kind of fucked up. And yeah. So the end of night one was Randy standing over hurt Cody with the title. The only thing I could say about night one was the unsanctioned match was awesome. On to night two. Well, we're on to night two. And yeah. I heard that people say night one was like a random episode of Raw. And obviously I don't agree with that, because I feel like it was alright for what it was. I said that the unsanctioned match was awesome. AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch, except for the shitty finish, was fine. but night 2 was much better, I will say that. Then the night started off with 2 big men slapping man meat. We had Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman taking on Opa Febby. And this was a really good house fight. Obviously, they were testing strength and pushing each other down. There was one point where Brock got out of the ring because he was out strength or whatever. And he, in frustration, grabbed the steel steps. But yeah, he had a couple of 5s on Opa, and Opa fought back as well, and can't remember the name of his finisher. And then Brock kick out of that. And yeah, Opa did a choke slam and got the win. So, in my eyes, I was like, okay, so Brock actually did business. There was the old lion putting the new lion over, if you will, and Paul sold it too. Like, I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, Opa Febby is the ruler, and basically that's pretty much it. And what he's done on Raw and SmackDown, just wrecking shop was what he should be doing. And so we'll see what happens with that. Rumor that he wanted to face Roman Reigns at some point for the world title, which I think is awesome. I don't see that happen yet. I know that Jacob Fatu is gonna have a match at Backlash with Roman Reigns. I don't see him win either. I'll say that if Opa's gonna get the title, it will be at SummerSlam. They should have a long feud, in my opinion. A 6-pack ladder match for the Intercontinental title, and holy shit. You know, we have Penta, who took on Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Rusev, and Rey Mysterio. And yeah, Penta was the last one to come out, and I think Javon comes out. We didn't see the other entrances, which kind of pissed me off. I mean, it was kind of like that at WrestleMania 27, and I'm going, that's just dumb. That's lazy on WWE's part. But this was a really good match. I mean, they all beat the shit out of each other. There was one point where we did get Penta and Rey Mysterio going at it. Also Dragon Lee. It was kind of cool to see all 3 of the luchadors were wearing red. There was a point where Rusev was on the ladder. He was about to get the title, and Javon hits a cutter out of nowhere. It was fucking awesome. So, yeah. Basically, Penta climbs the ladder, grabs the title, retains, which is fine, you know. I think they're gonna go with Javon versus Penta for the title. We'll see. I mean, Backlash is already looking good, but we'll see what happens. And JD should get the title eventually. Rusev, it's wishful thinking. And I know people are like, well, Ray should get the title before he retires. And it's like, well, I would like to see him in a WWE title picture. I don't think it's going to happen. So... States title. We have Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn. And yeah, Little Yachty comes out. And he introduces Trick. And I thought, okay, maybe Trick has a new song to come out too, and Little Yachty's gonna sing it. Nope. But I will say that Trick comes out in the fur coat. And the longest, I don't even know what you call that, but it was dragging on the floor, and it was really cool, actually. This match was awesome, and people were like, there's gonna be a double turn, and unfortunately, I mean, again, Sammy, like Cody, had some heelish moves, like he did the haluva kick outside the Trick as he was looking at his parents in the crowd, you know, but then Little Yachty got involved, and, you know, yeah, that happened, and Trick ended up getting the win, becoming the new United States champion. So I haven't watched SmackDown. I have no idea what's going on, but it seems like after the match, you had Sammy sitting by the announce table, just in awe. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he will become a heel eventually. As for Trick, I don't know if he's gonna be a face. It might be leaning towards that, but street fight with the Demon, Finn Balor, who took on Dominic Mysterio. Dominic's entrance was awesome. You have these guys dressed up as luchadors with, you know, it was just white gear. And they have the chair, and they're lifting Dominic up. And he's got the gear on too, but as soon as they put him down, he takes the mask off like he does. And of course the Demon comes out, and he's got the stupid tassels, but he's got the spikes and painted up interesting, you know. I found when they did that in Japan, it was much more cooler. In fact, when they did NXT Japan, I think it was Tokyo, but I might be wrong, he actually looked cooler like he did when he was in New Japan. So that doesn't make sense. This was a good match, and they used a lot of weapons that, because I didn't think they did, but yeah, they used chairs to their advantage. Dominic put Finn's face in a chair, like, yeah, before he did the 619. You've got being slammed out of chairs. Basically, yeah, the Demon wins. And as far as this feud goes, I'm not sure if it's going to go any further. Last I checked, Finn's trying to talk Roxanne Perez out of, like, leaving the Judgment Day. He talking her, yeah, getting her to leave. Yeah. Women's Championship. There's Jake Coghill. Came out in this awesome outfit. And she had a helmet on that was really cool, but she took it off. And Rhea Ripley comes out. She looks like she was having a time of her life singing her song and stuff like that. And this was actually a really good match. And, there was a point that reminded me of WrestleMania 31. Like, Jade's beating Rhea up. She throws her to the ground, and Rhea just sits up and is looking at Jade to laugh and, bring it on. And it's like Roman Reigns in a way. But this was cool. And you didn't know which way it was going to go. Because, yes, Mia Yim and B-Fab come out. And, they're going to distract Rhea. But then out comes Io Sky. So, yeah. They could have had both of those women involved somehow at WrestleMania in a match, but whatever, They tried, and obviously Rhea picked up the win, and is now the new WWE Women's Championship, which I had said on Facebook, and I'm pretty sure I'm right, but Rhea Ripley is the only woman to have won both the WWE World and WWE Women's title. Well, you know what I mean. So, and Rhea celebrate. So, we'll see what happens in the future. I think Rhea's got some good opponents. I know on Raw, was it last week, she was backstage face to face with Liv, who is the world champion now. Where I go with that is I feel like if Stephanie retained, Liv could have went over to SmackDown and challenged Rhea for the title. But it is what it is, We'll see. We'll see what happens, and CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. Of course, Roman Reigns comes out, and they have, the Wild Samoans on one side, and Yokozuna on the other. And I thought maybe they could have included more of the lineage, but I guess not. So anyways, Roman comes out, and then all of a sudden AFI comes on. And I thought, oh cool, CM Punk is going to come up to his Ring of Honor theme. But, there's a lot of flashbacks to CM Punk and Ring of Honor, and Backyard Wrestling, which I thought was cool. And, other things. Nothing from his TNA career, which I still think is interesting. And so anyway, he comes out, he's got a gi on that has a bunch of tributes on there, and he comes to the ring, takes the gi off, and yeah, you know what, this was a really good match. This was what Michael Cole said it was. It was a big fight feel, and it was definitely that. They beat the holy shit out of each other. There was CM Punk's elbow onto Roman on the announce table. There was, reversal submissions, Like, Roman Reigns doing a guillotine, It was, very cool. CM Punk got busted open, and it was pretty gnarly. Not as gnarly as Cody, though. And yeah, basically, this is probably the match of the night, like I said. Somehow, some way. And I figured this was going to happen. Roman is now the new World Heavyweight Champion. And like you can look at it this way. When he lost the title to Cody at 40, yeah, he was the longest champion at the time, but him regaining the title, now this is the world title, not that that makes a big difference, but it's like, why not? Now, like I said, he will take on Jacob at Backlash, so we'll see what happens there. I see him retain, obviously, but that was WrestleMania, and I look forward to this every year, and sometimes I get let down, sometimes I don't let it bother me, but yeah. I mean, it was definitely better than last year. I am going to say that. It was definitely not great. Not great by any means, but it was better than last year. Now, if you're watching this, I want you to comment which main event was better, night 1 or night 2. Because I honestly will always say that CM Punk and Roman Reigns outshined Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, and that was mainly due to the part that, and yes, I'm gonna say it, Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll got involved. If it was just Cody and Randy jaw-jacking before WrestleMania, cool, but you know, whatever. But there's a lot of things I have to say, so I'm gonna turn you on to this guy. Turns out there's a lot of releases, and I don't have it with me, but I feel like you have Kairi Sane, Motor City Machine Guns, and Aleister Black, and Zelina Vega. Now look, I didn't understand. Zelina Vega's been fired before, come back, let go again, and come back. Motor City Machine Guns, well, at least they can put on a bucket list. You have the WWE Tag Team titles. And then, you know what, if I were Tommy, I would probably go to MLW and actually join Killer Cross or feud with Killer Cross. I think that'd be pretty cool, but Zelina Vega, yeah, look, I still have the review that you just saw, so very, very pissed off about the whole thing, but it is what it is. Not to mention the fact that you just let go of Elba Fire, aka Kaylee Ray, and the White Six. And a part of me goes, yeah, but you weren't doing nothing with them anyways. But good on you for giving him a fair shake. You should have. I did a lot of stuff in AAA as well, but the fact is, I don't know how much longer I can be a fan. I mean, look, I do understand too that releases happen every once in a blue moon, but anyways, to be a fan of WWE as long as I have, just anyways, talk to you later. Bye.
So you know that them cutting WCW was a long time coming. I don't think that's the case at all. If you look at some of his earlier interviews,